At first, when these triplets came into the world, not much seemed to be wrong. They all had that beautiful pink-colored skin, and each of them had already been individually resting on their mommy's chest. Yet there was something very strange about them. But when the child on the right opened her eyes, the doctors ran out of her room. Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Mindy and David had been trying to get pregnant for so very long, but no matter how much they tried, it just wouldn't work for them. Mindy was 33 and David a few years older. It wasn't a disaster, but Mindy did of course realize that every year it failed again, her chances of becoming a mother diminished a little. Mindy and David almost jumped in the air, and the only reason they didn't fly directly into each other's arms was because Mindy was still full of echo gel and tangled in some cables. "That's great news," David exclaimed loudly. They couldn't believe their eyes when they saw the 3 hearts beating on the screen. Both parents-to-be had tears in their eyes. They both desperately wanted a big family and thought they would have to make do with just one or no child. Mindy's belly had grown tremendously in the 9-month-long pregnancy. Her 3 girls were pretty much ready to be born. Yes, all 3 of her babies were girls, and not just that, they were also identical triplets, which meant they were going to be 100% perfectly alike. Even doctors called this pregnancy extremely special and were curious about the end result. When her waters finally broke and the contractions started coming within short periods of time, they got in the car to the hospital. The natural birth of triplets is still a rare occurrence. A lot can go wrong in a short amount of time, which is why the room was filled with doctors and nurses to keep a close eye on everything. With a loud cry and a big final breath from Mindy, her first baby girl came into the world. It was a beautiful sight, and on first inspection she seemed completely healthy. But Mindy couldn't enjoy this moment for very long, because baby 2 was on the way with a third one waiting behind her. And that third baby in particular was going to be a special one, a baby that left even the most experienced doctor with question marks. Mindy felt the next contraction coming on. It was time for her second child. Their little ones were sleeping peacefully with their eyes closed, but everything changed when they opened their eyes. It was a beautiful and touching moment. Their girls, Amber, Laura, and Nadine, were gently laid on a blanket just before that first moment. Slowly, her first 2 children opened their eyes. "What a beautiful set of eyes," said Mindy. But it was the third baby, Nadine, who would suddenly give these parents the fright of their lives. The doctors just came back in and saw that both parents were no longer holding their children. He asked them, "Is this an appropriate time to take them with us? We need to check a few more things." Mindy and David nodded approvingly, and the doctor walked over to the brand new triplets. By now, Amber and Laura had both eyes wide open. They were looking at the man in the white coat affectionately, but Nadine clearly still preferred to sleep, as her eyes were fully closed. He stroked the little girl's head. Somehow that did the trick, because they saw her waking up from her slumber, and then she also slowly opened her eyes. But what the doctor then did startled the parents very suddenly. Nadine opened her eyes, and then also, just like her sisters, looked at the world around her for the first time. But it was these very eyes that made the doctor take a step back. This is extremely unusual," he announced. "I've never seen anything like this before, and this really should be impossible," he told the parents. These statements made Mindy and David nervous, and what he did next didn't make it much better. He walked away from the children and began an inspection of Mother Mindy, who did not understand what was going on. "Apart from giving birth, are you feeling well? Are you still dizzy or weak?" the man asked. Mindy said she felt fine, but also said that this situation made her a little nervous. "What is it, doctor? Is something wrong with my girl?" The doctor tried to reassure Mindy and told her it was probably nothing, but that he needed to check something. He walked out of the room and asked if David would like to follow him. The 2 men walked into a room a few doors away. "I have to make an honest confession, sir. I have been working in this hospital for almost 40 years, and I have never seen anything like this," the doctor explained. With trembling legs, he asked the doctor to really give some clarity now. The doctor went to stand next to David and grabbed his notepad to show him something. He began by apologizing for his secretive behavior. This was new to him too, and in his mind he was still too busy deciphering what had just happened. "You have nothing to worry about, dear sir. All 3 of your daughters are perfectly healthy. And their little bodies are functioning 100% normally, the doctor said. But then why are you so enthralled with my daughter Nadine? What makes her so special? Asked David the doctor. The whole thing didn't feel well to Mindy, and so she reacted slightly irritated when David and the doctor walked back into the room. Okay, David, you're going to tell me what's going on now because I'm done. Is everything okay with Nadine? Our daughter is just very special. 1 in 2 billion if the doctor's words are to be believed, David said. The doctor now also apologized to Mindy and explained that abnormal news, both good and bad, could occasionally be too stressful for a mother who had just given birth. Mindy now was even more curious about what he was going to say. He explained that triplets were always a special event, and certainly identical triplets were already tremendously unique. But what made these many times more special were Nadine's eyes. Identical triplets can differ a minuscule bit in appearance, but the essential parts of the children are the same 100% of the time. Hair color, eyes, nose, in fact, everything on their face. But where your first 2 daughters have green-blue eyes, Nadine's are deep dark brown. I personally have never seen this mutation and really shouldn't be able to occur. It doesn't make your daughter any less. It makes her all the more special. The photo shows Mindy, David, and their cousins. Here they are happily holding all 3 babies at the same time. This moment is now 6 years ago. Are you curious what they look like now? In this photo, you can see even more clearly the difference between the 3 children. From left to right, you can see Amber, Laura, and Nadine. Although you can clearly see that they are sisters of each other, Amber and Laura overwhelmingly have the same features. Nadine, however, has darker hair and is a little reddish. And of course, don't forget her deep brown eyes, which her father and mother still love to drown in daily. She's so beautiful, and all 3 of them still make us so happy every day. The fact that her mutation makes her special doesn't change anything for us. We love all 3 of our beautiful ladies equally for the full 1,000%, says Mother Mindy.